Good morning, students. Today we will be starting with chapter number 3, that is types of economies. Here we will be studying on the basis of nature of economic activities these classifications which have been categorized on the basis of nature of economic activities. The first is capitalistic, or the other name is market economy. Second is planned or socialistic, and third is mixed economy. Today we will be going for these two: features, merits and demerits, and as well as meaning. Now, capitalistic economy or market economy. Now, what do you mean by market economy? Now, market economy is in the form of economic organization in which means of production are owned by private people. Basically, this economy is based on the free private enterprises as well. Now, market economy is also known as capitalistic economy and laissez-faire economy. It is called as laissez-faire economy in the sense that there is a complete non-interference of the government in the economy. Now, countries like UK, USA, Japan, France, Germany, Australia, Canada. Now, features to be followed are, there are certain features which we will be studying today. That is, private property is the first one. Now, when I talk about private property and inheritance, this is the main feature of market economy. Why? Because it exists, I can say it is the existence of private property or a property which is owned by a single individual or by a group of individuals, that is known as private property. Now, everybody has a right to acquire private property and pass it on to their children after death. But right to property is not absolute and unrestricted. Example here can be, people here cannot use the productive resources for producing undesirable goods. The institution of inheritance provides a powerful incentive to saving and capital formation because people know that the assets after that would pass over to their children. That is first one, that is private property. Now, second is freedom of enterprise and contract. Now, freedom of enterprise here suggests the second characteristics, which is that every individual has freedom of enterprise and is also free to enter into any contract of his or her choice. That is what freedom of enterprise. Now, freedom of consumption. Now, freedom of consumption is in market economy. Every individual is free to consume any commodity up to any extent. There is no interference. Profit motive. Here, the basic motive is the profit of the producers. They would be producing those goods which would give them profit and which will be beneficial for them. Now, price mechanism is a scenario where the buyers and sellers take certain economic decisions, where producers, or I can say sellers, they sell goods at a profitable price, and the consumers, they purchase goods for their own satisfaction. That is what price mechanism suggests us. There are a few features again which can be explained, or it can be a self-explanatory manner. Before I proceed to socialistic economy, we will be going with the merits and demerits of market economy. So, first merit of market economy is abundance of goods. Now, when I talk about abundance of goods, that in this type of economy, the producers produce all those goods whose profit margin is always higher. Hence, the supply of various goods is always in accordance with their demand. When I say best resource utilization, in this economy, the country's resources are used in the most efficient manner. The reason is that every person works in his own interest, and different factors of production are used in a most effectively and efficient manner. When I talk about technological progress, now competition is the essence of capitalism, as we all know. So competition among themselves is also a great factor. They spend large amounts of money on research and development, where competition motivates producers to invent new techniques of production. It also forces them to discover the new products to attract consumers towards their products or brands. Now, when I talk about cheap and best goods, under this economy, production is carried on a large scale. So, low cost are already available to the consumer. The goods are also of standard quality because of the competition. Next is economic freedom. Now, economic freedom suggests that there is complete economic freedom in both the producers as well as consumers. Producers will produce those goods according to their choice. Similarly, consumers are free to spend any amount according to their own will. Now, when I talk about the last one, that is increasing production and standard of living. The chief merit of capitalism is that it has led to large increase in the production and national income. It has helped in modernizing the underdeveloped economies like USA, UK, Japan, Germany in high rate of economic growth by adopting capitalistic economic system. Hence, this has enabled these countries to raise a proper standard of living. In short, I can say that market economy has resulted in more output than national income, higher efficiency, technological progress, availability. These are all the specific merits of capitalistic economy. Now, in order to quote Adam Smith, there is no conflict between individual interest and social interest. If each individual is free to choose his own course of action, he will be guided by his self-interest and will choose such course of action as will maximize his interest. So basically, free market economy, that means free to choose, free to produce, free to consume. That is what market economy says, that because there is no interference of government. Now when I talk about demerits, now demerits is the first demerit. Market economy has been severely criticized by many thinkers, philosophers and economists. It has been alleged that the capitalism has divided the society into two haves and haves not. Like Karl Marx, the father of communist philosophy, pointed out in his book Capital that the capitalistic on an average takes away 12 hours from labor and pays him wages equal to 6 hours. How can it be possible? So basic demerits will be, first is inequality in the distribution of wealth and income. I can say the national wealth is accumulated in the hands of few rich persons. Under this system, or I can say under this type of economy, the rich becomes richer and the poor becomes poorer. Then there is class conflict. In capitalistic economy, the society is divided into two classes. As a result, industrial disharmony and unrest become a normal feature. Like strikes, lockouts are frequently they take place in the economy, which adversely affect the national output. Next is unemployment. When I talk about unemployment, due to overproduction, there is always a possibility of depression, which creates a fear of unemployment in the minds of the workers. In advanced countries like America, England, in this situation, the unemployment is the result of capitalism. Very easy, that is exploitation. In this kind of economy, the rich always exploit the poor. A few persons of the society accumulate the major portion of national income and wealth, and rest of the people lead a miserable life. The rich people lead a very luxurious life. This is just an assumption where we don't know what it is, but yes, the rich people lead a very luxurious life. Wastage of resources, as there is overproduction, so obviously there is wastage of natural resources as well. Going towards socialistic, or I can say planned economy. Now here basic is the means of production are managed by the whole community, or I can say government. The countries to adopt this system is China, Cuba and Vietnam. Still they think that socialistic is not a good option. There are features like social property. Now when I talk about social property, the private property is totally abolished. All the means of production such as land, mines, factories, banks are owned by the state. When I talk about government is the only producer. In this economy, the production of the various commodities is under the control of the government. Third is social welfare. The basic motive was of profit in capitalistic economy, which was replaced by the social welfare under socialism. Now, a socialistic economy seeks to maximize the interest and welfare of the entire society. The individual interest is not considered. For this, there are various reasons of production of certain commodities which may be continued even when losses are incurred. Next is economic planning. Now in a socialistic economy, it is basically a planned economy. Now planning takes place of market mechanism. Basically, economic progress of the country is the responsibility of central authority under whose guidance and charge economic goals are achieved. The Central Planning Authority allocates those productive resources according to the economic and social goals set by it, like dams, bridges. These are what economic planning. Accordingly, they will get profit as well as social welfare. When I talk about economic equalities, now economic equality is the very core of socialism. Like inequalities of income are considered socially unjust, politically undesirable, and economically bad. Now, socialism aims at introducing equality in the distribution of income and wealth. It aims at providing equal opportunities of employment to all. However, it does not mean absolute equality. Such equality is neither desirable nor feasible. Now, socialism recognizes that some income differences, like due to difference in skill, talent, and productivity of individuals, can be different. So, in that, it cannot be economically equal. When I talk about people's cooperation, now people's cooperation is it works with full cooperation of the society, and whatever the decisions are taken in a proper manner. Now proceeding with merits of socialistic economy. Now when I talk about merits of socialistic economy, these are easy to remember. That is, first one is better allocation of resources. Now under this, allocation of resources can be made in a better and more rational manner. The price system under capitalism does not direct resources to their most needed and desired users because of the presence of very vast inequalities in income between different persons and the monopolies in the industries field. Whereas under socialism, it is based on the motive of welfare instead of profit motive, and allocation of resources is made by the central planning authority in order to promote social welfare. Now when I talk about social justice, the chief merit of socialism is that it ensures social justice. Under socialism, inequalities of income are reduced to the minimum and there is just an equitable distribution of national income. Nobody is allowed to get larger unearned incomes. Rental and abolished, like the private ownership has been abolished, and inequalities of wealth. Main reason was the inequalities of income and wealth. There is no exploitation of labor in the socialistic economy. When I talk about economic stability, now economic stability is where it will be neither surpluses nor shortfalls. There will be no business fluctuations and unemployment. Instead, economic stability will be maintained. Now we will be talking about social security and welfare. Now, socialistic economy guarantees social security to everybody. It is believed that people should be protected from the uncertain conditions of work, income, and society as a whole. Therefore, the government, such as compensation for unemployment, accident, sickness, and maternity benefits, old age pensions, what are these? They provide these certain securities to the people. The state provides the basic facilities of housing, education, and health to the people as well. Now when I talk about rapid economic growth, basically in all the available productive resources are used properly and in a planned way. Under socialism, the state adopts economic planning, which we have already discussed, and it is a superior way of development. Under socialism, rates of saving and investment can be greatly raised, which are essential for rapid economic development. So obviously when we had the merit, we can also be going for the demerit as well. Now the last topic for today is demerits of socialistic economy. The first point is no incentive for hard work. This is the greatest demerits of socialistic economy, because in this system, people are simply made to work according to the dictates of the central authority. It renders people to the status of mere wage earners. Their jobs are protected whether they are efficient or inefficient. When I talk about loss of freedom, in this kind, the private enterprises have no place. Likewise, the consumer preferences and choices have no importance in the economy. Consumers are forced to accept whatever commodities are produced by the government. People are not able to enjoy civil and political freedom. They have no freedom of speech. Next, when I talk about loss of efficiency, under this, the loss of efficiency is for many reasons. First, there is lack of incentive to motivate the people in order to work hard, improve the efficiency. Second is production units should be managed and controlled by bureaucrats who are not efficient as private entrepreneurs. Red tapeism is very famous because in this, activities under socialism are performed by the government and its officials. There is a great possibility of delay and wastage of time for performing different tasks, like files go on moving from one place to another, from one table to another. It is necessary, consequently the necessary decisions are not taken in an appropriate time and manner. Last is that is important, concentration of economic and political powers. In this, it leads to concentration of both political and economic powers in the hands of government. Now, government has absolute authority in the country, which increases the power of the government over individuals. Every possibility that a handful of politicians and bureaucrats may become dictators in the country. That is what has been done. In short, socialistic economies are totalitarian in nature. It is because of this reason that socialism has lost its popularity in the recent years. The fall of communist reign, I can say, in Soviet Russia and most of the Eastern Europe is the result of these factors. Thank you for today. If you have any doubt, do let me know.